Let me tell you, nobody ever expects to win a land war in suburbia, especially not against a woman with platinum hair, a laser-leveled smile, and a clipboard sharp enough to cut glass. But that's exactly how I ended up trading my quiet, pine-scented mornings for a front-row seat to the wildest property line showdown this neighborhood's ever seen. Yeah, that happened, and if you'd told me 6 months ago that I'd go viral online for it, I'd have laughed you right off my porch. Let me back up a sec, because the story, like my backyard, has some wild twists and corners. So, I bought the house more out of nostalgia than anything. My uncle left it to me in his will, a real craftsman-style place with creaky floors, ivy choking the fence, and just enough character to make anyone fall in love unless you were allergic to old wood or ghosts. I wasn't looking to move. City life suited me fine, traffic and all, but something about that winding gravel drive and the piney air got its hooks in me. So, I packed my life into boxes, loaded up the truck, and drove 3 hours out to the edge of suburban nowhere, ready to start over with a house full of memories and a future I hadn't even sketched out yet. The lot itself was a bit weird, the kind of shape you can only get from 1930 surveyors and one too many close enough handshakes. It wrapped around a little hill, so my backyard didn't really have a back, just a rise that disappeared into woods. I love that. No nosy neighbors, no HOA vampires lurking behind clipped hedges. Or so I thought. First 2 months? Heaven. I patched the roof, sanded the porch swing, repainted the shutters a deep, hunting lodge green that would have made my uncle proud. I kept to myself, waved when I saw folks, got the nod, and we all lived in that quiet, agreeable silence you only get when everybody has enough space. Then Marilyn Shaw moved in next door and turned my life into an episode of Suburban Survivor. Picture it. Moving day, sun beating down, Marilyn barking orders at two exhausted movers as they wrangle some antique armoire. Platinum hair, blazer sharp as a tack, clipboard in hand. The kind of person who treats no soliciting signs like a personal dare. She introduced herself that evening by marching up to my porch as if I had a doctor's appointment I'd forgotten. "You must be the new owner." She hit me with a realtor's smile that stopped 2 inches short of her eyes. "Marilyn Shaw, just moved in next door. Lovely to meet you." I'm standing there with a hammer in one hand, paint on my jeans, blinking at her like a deer in headlights. "Daniel Walker," I managed. "Nice to meet you too." She gives my porch a once-over, like she's already checking comps for resale. "You've got quite the lot. Odd shape, huh?" "Yeah, it's old. Before zoning got fancy." Her lips twitch. "Have you had the boundaries verified recently?" Now, you gotta understand, nobody makes that their third sentence unless they're fishing for something. That was my first red flag. I tell her, "Got the original survey from my uncle's purchase and a new one in my name." "What?" "Oh, no reason." She chirps too fast. "Just, your fence runs close to what might be my easement line. I'll have to check my deed." I raise an eyebrow. "Let me know what you find." Should have been a weird little chat and nothing more, right? Wrong. Next week, color tape shows up on one of my oak trees. Then more, tied around garden stakes near the shed. They sure as hell weren't mine. The next time I see Marilyn, she's at the edge of her property, sunglasses huge, manila folder in hand. "You may be encroaching," she calls out over my mower. "Onto my property." She points to her neon flags like she's planting them on the moon, halfway through my veggie garden, one brushing the garage. My blood pressure ticks up. "Marilyn, these lines haven't changed in decades. My uncle lived here 30 years. Nobody's had a problem." She just smiles that tight, real estate smile. Perhaps nobody checked. These properties weren't properly aligned back then. I know, I'm in real estate. There it is, the magic license to hassle. She announces she's ordering a professional survey. Not a request, a dare. "Sure," I say, flat as Kansas. "Let's see what the pros say." And right there, the flags start to multiply. The next day, I count 17 walking from my porch to the mailbox. One stabbed at my tomato planter. That one, I'll admit, made me madder than I'd like to admit. In the mailbox, a manila envelope. No stamp, just my name in neat ink. Inside, a formal letter from Maryland's brokerage and a hand-drawn diagram with a red line slicing right through my lawn, my shed, even my fire pit. Scribbled underneath. Pending survey results. Potential encroachment. Fence may lie up to 12 feet onto my property. I had to laugh. Instead, I scanned it, called my lawyer. Claudia, my real estate attorney, heard me out. Let me guess. New neighbor with a God complex and no sense of boundaries. 2 for 2, I said. She checked my deeds and plat map. You're solid. But if she's getting a survey, get your own. Someone we trust. I'd already called Carla Jennings, a surveyor with a handshake like a vice and the attitude of someone who's wrestled more than one Karen in her career. Carla walks the property with me, side-eyes the neon flags. Her guy's coming out next week? She asks. Yeah. Carla nods. Sometimes folks hire specialists. People who deliver the result the client wants. That happen a lot. I ask. She shrugs. Not common, but it happens, especially when your neighbor's in real estate. Great. That night, a drone buzzes the backyard, 2 minutes hovering, then zipping off to Maryland's. Cute. The next day, she puts up a laminated sign, survey in progress. Do not disturb boundary markers. Facing my yard, naturally. Then comes David Lehman, her land surveyor, clipboard, mirrored shades, too slick by half. We'll be out tomorrow, he says, all tight smiles. I call Carla. David Lehman? She repeats. You're kidding. Booted from my old firm for, wait for it, boundary manipulation. Not convicted, but blacklisted. My jaw drops. Carla promises to be there in the morning. Next day, it's a circus. Marilyn hovers nearby like a hawk with a latte. David and his crew set up tripods, GPS gear, the works. Carla arrives, cool as can be, trading barbs with David like old rivals. Let's make sure everyone's playing by the same rules, she says, smiling that dangerous surveyor smile. They measure, argue, take photos. At one point, Marilyn tries to block Carla from photographing a marker. Carla reminds her it's my right. Marilyn storms off, muttering. By sundown, my headache is only outmatched by my paranoia and the flyers that show up on every door. Protect our property values. Demand compliance. Support the HOA Boundary Realignment Initiative. We're not even the HOA, but someone's clearly trying to fix that. The next morning, county trucks and a third-party firm show up. Zoning officials, recorder's office, even a guy with a drone controller who looks like he'd rather be anywhere else. Marilyn's out early, dressed like she's headed to a boardroom brawl, greeting officials like it's an open house. I sip my coffee, Carla at my side. We walk the boundary, GPS logs, plat checks. Then the drama. One of the surveyors calls out, "Hey, get over here. We got a shift." Carla listens, her eyebrows going up. Well, this should be interesting. Turns out, not only am I not encroaching, but Marilyn's whole back corner, house deck garage, is sitting on my land. Come again. I stammer. 15% of her house is on your property, Carla says. I just stand there, mouth open, connecting the dots. All those flags, all the threats, and she was the trespasser. Marilyn comes over, hearing the commotion. The county guy tells her straight. Portion of your home extends onto Mr. Walker's property. We'll need to file an encroachment report. Her face goes beet red. She flaps her clipboard, insists her survey, David's survey, proves otherwise. The official cuts her off. We reviewed Mr. Lehman's findings. They don't align with county records. Carla steps up, arms folded. I recognize David's signature, and it doesn't match the one on file. Marilyn sputters, accuses us of forgery, but nobody's buying it. The county officials pack up, Carla's smirking, and I'm still in shock. For 2 glorious days, Marilyn goes quiet. I grill a steak, dare to hope it's over. Then comes the lawsuit, civil proceedings to reassert boundary entitlements and seek equitable easement adjustments. Translation: she's suing me for land she doesn't own, banking on a settlement, so she won't have to tear down her house. Claudia, my attorney, pours herself a scotch. She's not just suing, she's got backers. Probably the HOA, trying to force you to sell. Sure enough, The next evening, the HOA president, Cheryl Sloan, shows up with two khaki-clad goons. "We're discussing integration of this block into the Morning Hills community zone," she coos. "Integration? You mean takeover?" I shoot back. She laughs. "Hand me a glossy brochure. There's been a lot of support. Let me guess. Maryland's one of them?" Her eyes say yes, even if her mouth doesn't. That's when things get ugly. Yard waste tossed over my fence. Anonymous brown envelope full of emails between Marilyn, Cheryl, and someone called Board Legal Group. Strategy memos about using perceived confusion to force rezoning. Proof the HOA is secretly funding Maryland's lawsuit. My hands shake. I send everything to Claudia. Her reply: "We're not in a property dispute anymore. We're in a land grab. Time to go nuclear." I upload every file, photo, email to a Google Drive, then blast it all over Reddit. HOA trying to steal my land. Here's proof. 40,000 upvotes in a day. Reporters and bloggers flood my inbox. Turns out, the internet loves a David versus Goliath story, especially when Goliath wears and tailor and calls herself community-minded. Courtroom day. It's packed. Claudia's all ice and steel, laying out every receipt, every survey, every sneaky email. The judge blinks when she gets to the bit about Maryland trying to amplify confusion. Maryland's lawyer objects, but Claudia subpoenaed the HOA's email domain. The proof is real. Then comes the twist. The court calls David Lehman to the stand. Not us, the court. The licensing board is investigating him for survey fraud, thanks to the leaked evidence. He cracks under questioning, admits Maryland pushed him to fudge the numbers, that the HOA had her back. The silence in that room could have split stone. I leave the courthouse to reporters and cameras, ignoring the circus. That evening, Maryland's lawyer calls, offering a settlement. 10-year lease, drop all claims, confidentiality bonus if I sign fast. Claudia drafts a response. No deal. See you in court. A week later, Maryland's lawyers drop her. Insurance denied, funds gone, reputation in tatters. HOA goes dark, website offline, president on leave. It's like the whole nightmare got unplugged. And finally, one cool morning, contractors show up to take Maryland's deck apart, piece by piece. Not malicious, just the law. You build where you don't own, you lose it, simple as that. Neighbors who'd avoided eye contact for months now come by with pie, cold beer, even a toy bulldozer on a plastic fence labeled HOA Memorial. Carla brings wine, winks, says, "Told you we'd bury them." The silence in the neighborhood is finally pleasant. No more flags, no more drones, no more newsletters threatening to fine you for your mailbox paint. The judge's ruling is clear. New boundary markers, my land were registered. Maryland's name now a cautionary tale on real estate Reddit. The house sits empty a while, then a sweet couple moves in laptops, six-packs, no interest in fighting over tomatoes. We toast over the fence. Sometimes peace comes from standing your ground. And just for fun, I bolt a brass sign to my new cedar fence. Private property, 0% encroachment since 2025. Within an hour, neighbors are laughing. Someone's talking about merch. And there's a folding table loaded with deviled eggs like it's a suburban block party summoned by the gods of karma. As the sun sets purple over the yard, I sip a cold one, watching kids play tag and neighbors lounge in lawn chairs. You know, for all the headaches and drama, I'd do it again. Not for the victory, but for the principle. Sometimes the only way to keep what's yours is to dig in and refuse to budge. And hey, what do you think? Was I right to fight for every inch? Or is there a line between justice and stubbornness? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you survive your own HOA horror story, I'm all ears. Let's hear what you do when the clipboard brigade comes knocking.